Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your modelers have practically built themselves. Hello, folks. It's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome to today's show. Today, well, we are going to do a car model. It happens to be this one right here, 1971 Plymouth GTX. This kit by Revell is in 1/24th scale, and it came out, this incarnation of it came out in 1995, so it's an older kit. So those of you who have built these 1/24th Revell kits, there was a few of them. There was a Roadrunner from, I think it was a 69 or 70, and also a GTX in this 1/24 scale by them. And they were pretty decent cars. I built them both a couple of times, and they look really good when they're finished. There's a couple of quirks in putting them together that are a real pain, but you know, it's an older Revell car model, so I mean, you know, what do you expect for something this old? So we're gonna get started on this. We're not gonna do a complete build because it does build very quickly and it's very easy to build. We're just gonna hit some of the highlights and show you the final on this. So without further ado, let's go and build a 1971 Plymouth GTX.
Start out, I went to Scale Finishes online. He's actually local here in Salt Lake City, and I ordered up some lemon twist. I thought that would be appropriate for this particular project. So I actually painted this a few years back, and you can see I did the things necessary for the vinyl top, for the sunroof, and I'm not going to go through how I did the sunroof on this one because I've got a couple of other videos. I'll put a link in the description to the other videos where I have done sunroofs before on here, so you'll be able to see that. But here's where I started this week. I had a lot that was already accomplished. You can see that this was pretty straightforward. It's just you mask off a square, you mark it, you cut it with a knife, and then underneath, from the underneath side, you take some thin strips to make your, I call them the resting areas, but it's the headliner part, to simulate the headliner part, and of course the sunroof that rolls back itself. And then I just did the vinyl top as I have in some of my other videos. The interior, I had built this some time ago, just very simple with some black. I did use some flocking for the carpet, and of course my Molotow chrome pen for the chrome trim all through the interior. Now here is one of those trademark things that I do. If you've ever had a coupe from this era, they usually had these back quarter windows that would roll down, or they had some that would just kind of fold out, like the Dart and the Duster had those, but most of these just rolled down, and you never would roll them down. I mean, even if you're sitting back there. So I went ahead and I put one of these in, even though the kit did not have one. It's supposed to have one there, so I put in a quarter window. And then this area here, this trim piece here, maybe when it came from the factory, the day it came from the factory, it was bright, shiny chrome. But to me, it's always been kind of a dull chrome. So I masked it off and painted it with some bright silver and then gave it a wash.
So I'm just putting some dry brush details on the grabber, the air grabber underneath here. We're going to just make some of this stuff pop out here, and what I'm using is just a just kind of a dark gray by Testors Model Master, and I'm just dry brushing it on. So a couple of real interesting things about this particular car and why I decided to build it. I found out that, okay, a while back I was into these like a Dodge Dart and a few others that I was building with factory sunroofs. I did a Cougar, whatnot. These factory power moonroof sunroofs, I thought were really cool. I almost owned a Cougar with one years ago, but I didn't. Anyway, the idea came up. I had this car. I've built it before, and I thought, ooh, how about a factory sunroof? Power roof. That'd be kind of fun to do for this. And so I leaped and went ahead and did it, and then I researched the car a little bit. Come to find out that there were two 71 GTXs that had the Hemi, the 4-speed, and the power and the power roof. Now I know one of them was yellow. I don't know what the other color was. I never did find out that in all of the research. But this is an extremely rare car, but it's also, I believe it's the most expensive Hemi power car ever to leave. Yeah, the manufacturer back then. Is this car in 1971 $6,500? $6,500 back then. I mean, considering you could get a Maverick for like 1900. This is an expensive car, folks. This was more expensive than a Coupe de Ville, a Cadillac Coupe de Ville in 1971. Woo! So you really had to want this. And like I said, there were two of them. One of them, the yellow one, actually was purchased by a young man after he had gotten out of the Army in 71, after being over in Vietnam, and owned it for pretty much his entire life. It finally went into a collection after he had passed away. But anyway, I just thought it would be fun to do this on one of the B bodies, and it just happened to be like the rarest, coolest, GTX ever. So anyway, that's kind of the story behind it. I think I got the hood done finally, and that little bit of detail just popped right out there. So okay, on to the next area.
So if there is a weak spot in these Revell kits from back then, these 24 scale kits, it's right here. So you go to put the engine in and it doesn't work well. Let me just tell you, no matter how you glue it, it doesn't glue very well. You can see back there at the transmission point. The motor mounts, you can't really see them great in this picture, but the motor mounts are actually blocked by the exhaust manifolds, so they don't sit down right. So I have to break off the motor mounts, turn them around, and then glue them in there. So they're not in there the proper way, but you know what? They're going to have to be okay for now. I haven't wired up the engine yet. That's a tedious thing that I'm just not going to do right now. I'm not going to put any other hoses or anything. So for right now, it's a pretty bare bones engine compartment, but you get the idea. It does look pretty good the way that it is in the kit. The grill is all blacked out with just the GTX there in the center, and then that lower grill there, which I do need to clean up a little bit to get some of that yellow to pop out a little more. I did put the headlights in by using some Mod Podge and just push them into place. Now on the underside, just black with a gray dry brush, and you can see it pops a bunch of the details out. Unfortunately, the gas tank, I'm going to have to repaint that with a different, a little bit darker silvery gray. But the exhaust also did not hook up to the exhaust manifolds, so I'm going to have to cut those and hook those up properly. I did get the tires sanded, so they turned out pretty good. Now, here looking at it completed, and looking down inside the moonroof into the interior, man, that's a nice looking shot, and that quarter window to me just finishes that right off. No, I did not put the door locks on this. This car was supposed to have power door locks, and so I didn't put the little lock thing on it. So now let's spin it around and take a look at it. as it sits. Pretty much done. A couple of little things I want to add to it, but for the most part, I am going to call it complete for right now. And here's a shot of it from the side. It's a good looking car. So, hey, thank you for joining us this week, folks. I hope you got something out of this, and we'll see you again soon with another car build. Thanks.